Chapter 25. The Gateway. The slabs of rock they had chosen rose into the smoke-hazed air not a moment too soon. Had they not moved, the spiders would have overwhelmed them. The bigger spiders tried to leap at the rising rocks. Spells flashed out to force them back. Harry found the levitation difficult. There was no physical effort, but the concentration was enough to make him sweat. He couldn't help checking on Ginny every few seconds. Each time he did, he felt his slab shake at his loss of mental focus. Ginny appeared serene and in charge. He smiled, knowing she was treating it as a competition. His slab wobbled, alarming his passengers. "Whoa!" shouted Jimmy, sliding to the edge of the flying rock. "Sorry," said Harry. Jimmy smiled and waved at Harry. Then his face changed. He continued to slide. The rock tilted further in his direction. He slid and toppled over the edge. Shona began to slide. Harry clenched his teeth as he struggled to right the stone slab. Something shot past Harry's head, making his hair whip across his forehead. Christy grabbed Shona's hand. As Harry levelled the rock, he peered over the edge. It amazed him to see that Jimmy was not lying broken on the rocks below, but clinging to a broom. Sophie was flying the broom, coaxing it back upwards, with Jimmy draped sideways across it. They caught up with the hovering stones. Sophie deposited Jimmy back onto Harry's stone, then rejoined her friends on Ginny's. She slid the broom back into her backpack. "Bloody hell, that were a trip," said Jimmy. "What happened?" asked Harry. The fall had shaken Jimmy too much for him to reply. "Sophie grabbed her broom and went after him. I think she got him before he could cast Arresto Momentum," Christy said. "Not sure, though. I was busy trying to stop Shona following him." "Look, I'm so sorry, all of you. I'll let my concentration drift," said Harry. "I owe you one, Jimmy." "Bloody right, mate," Jimmy agreed. "Just pilot this headstone up to the top and get me back on solid ground." "You two as well," he said to the girls. "I owe you big time." "It's all right, Mr. Potter," Shona said in a shaky voice. "Can we land now, please?" They had reached the top of the cliff. Harry brought the stone in for a smooth landing on the grass, well away from the cliff edge. The slab rocked as it settled unevenly on the grass. Shona let out a squeak. Jimmy eased himself off the slab and lay face down on the grass for a long time. He twisted his fingers into the grass, as though clinging to the ground. Shona and Christy knelt next to him, Christy's arm around Shona's shoulders. Sophie stepped up to them and sat down next to Jimmy. Jimmy rolled over and sat up. "Don't you ever do that again, you git," Sophie said with a smile. Jimmy grinned. Ginny joined them. "Well done, Potter. What the hell were you thinking?" I'll tell you later," Harry muttered. "Sophie, that was incredible," Ginny enthused. "I heard you were good, but, well, the fish doesn't exactly hold you back, but you must have genuine talent to handle it that well." "She's the best chesser in school," Christy explained, holding up her wand to cast light on the scene. "My brother has a colossal crush on her. He even pretends to like Quidditch." Sophie bowed her head to hide her face in what remained of her curls. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God! Jimmy, are you okay? Are you okay, Soph? Am I okay? Is anybody okay?" Freddie had arrived. "I'm fine, man. Don't worry. Just try not to explode, all right?" Jimmy grinned. "Your girl here saved the day." "Right," Harry said. "That's enough. I apologize for the scare, and I can't thank Sophie enough for, as Jimmy points out, saving the day. But somehow, Lydia managed to keep focused on the gateway, and she's standing over there waiting for us. Let's go." Lydia was standing on the grass, where she had clambered down from Ginny's stone slab. She was facing away from the chasm. "There," she said, pointing ahead. Christy and Flitwick doused their wand lights. In the distance, they could see a blue-white light in the form of an arch. It was the gateway, they knew. As they moved into formation around Lydia, something obscured their view of the gateway. "Where's it gone?" Cobham asked, alerting the others to its disappearance. It's still there, Lydia assured them. There are other things out there, but it's not far now. She sounded weary. Harry felt humbled. The girl had kept her concentration through battles and calamities for what seemed like hours now. He had failed to keep his mind on a flying stone when students' lives depended on him. He sighed in exasperation at himself. Ginny grabbed his hand. Hey, go easy on yourself. You piloted a photon rock up a cliff face while you were sitting on top of it. So did you. So did McGonagall and Felix, Harry pointed out in a low voice. Yeah, but we're not idiots, Ginny explained. You know, I only lost my concentration because I was lusting after you, Harry murmured. That's only to be expected, Ginny smirked. Just don't get into the habit of blaming all your mistakes on my hotness. Okay? I'll try not to, Harry grinned. A rumbling, crunching sound interrupted them. A tremendous obelisk of glittering stone forced its way out of the ground in front of them, throwing grass and earth aside. It was taller than Hagrid and loomed over the group. More obelisks followed. The stones were surrounding them. Get out before we're penned in, Harry shouted. The ground beyond was bare and rocky. They bustled onwards towards the gate. More obelisks shot up, raining stones and boulders down around them. Debris clattered on the stony terrain. The clashing and fracturing of stone left an earthy, burnt smell and a haze of dust. Lydia's group fought back against the fall of rocks with levitation and shield charms. Through the haze and the uproar of shattering rocks, they heard an abyssal throb and boom. The sound shook their bowels and unnerved even Harry's experienced aura senses. This is not good news, Harry thought. He cast them out, looking for the source of the rumbling noise. Approaching them from the way they had come, beyond the mist of stone dust, he could make out 3 gargantuan figures. Giants 3 or 4 times the height of Hagrid. Look out behind! Harry bellowed over the tumult. Run! The group hustled forward, but the rising obelisks and raining stones came quicker. They stumbled and jostled, but moved no faster. The adults fought a rearguard action, firing spells at the giants. The giants had reached the forest of obelisks and were knocking them aside like weeds. Their spells had little chance. These were stone giants. Ahead of them, the ground rose up in a huge mound. This slope made their progress only slower. The obelisks suddenly stopped rearing up at them. The ground under their feet was soft and grassy. Admittedly, the giants were close on their heels now, but they might just make the glowing gateway at the top of the slope. Ahead of Harry, level with Lydia, Stefano's vampire form was momentarily lit with a flash of green light. He stumbled and fell to the grass. One youngster squealed in terror. Harry looked over to the left of their team. Many figures were advancing on them, one to loft. Look to the sides! Harry shouted in warning. They threw up protective shield spells. They launched curses of all colours against their attackers on either side. The ground under their feet shook with the footfalls of the giants close behind them. This is it, Harry thought, in a split second of clarity and despair. We came so close, but we failed in the last few metres. Why did I let Ginny come with us? Poor kids. He cast a glance over at Lydia, spotting her through the assembled students who were defiantly protecting her. She had stopped. She stood with her fists clenched by her sides and her face raised to the gateway further up the slope. Then it happened. The air was oppressive but silent, as though a noise too low to hear but too loud to allow other sounds had suddenly filled it. And the land around the mound on which they stood shrugged. It was the only way Harry could describe it. The land lifted and fell in an instant, causing a tremendous circular wave to ripple outward through the land. The wave flung the Death Eaters and stone giants into the dark distance. On the mound, the group of friends and the gateway were unaffected. More of them lit their wands to see what was happening. They were alone on the mound. As far as their lights reached, there was no one to be seen. No giants, no enemy wizards, no stone obelisks. There was just peaceful grassland with the mound at its centre. "Lydia?" Harry ventured. "You seem to be struggling," she said in a hoarse voice. "But the gateway," Ginny began. "It's still there," Dean told them, pointing up the slope to the glowing archway. "How did you—" Harry started to say. "She's a girl, Potter," McGonagall explained. "She can concentrate on more than one thing at a time. Multitasking it is called. Ask your dear wife to explain it to you." "Stefano!" Lavender shouted hoarsely. "I am here," came Verdi's cool tone from behind Harry. Harry spun around. The professor was in his human form again. "Did Lydia do that as well?" Harry asked. No," Stefano replied with a winning smile. "It was merely a killing curse. I have a note from the school nurse. No dying from killing curses for little Stefano. He is much too gorgeous. And also not entirely human. We vampires can be a little tricky, Harry. How is it you do not know this?" Harry and the others laughed. "And it is like the old saying," Stefano continued. "What does not kill me makes me undead." He held up his hands at the chorus of groaning. "We've done it!" Harry exclaimed in realization. "Nearly," Lydia called from higher up the slope. "Hurry the hell up! It feels like it's getting ready to disappear." The students, followed by the adults, ran up the slope to the glowing arch of the gateway. Lydia was standing beside the arch, with one hand on its glowing side. The arch seemed to be carved, as if out of stone. That stone seemed to be carved out of light. "All my companions, get through now!" Lydia ordered. As they passed through the gateway, they vanished from sight. "Thanks, all of you," she said to the adults, her eyes still fastened on the gateway. "Go home to your loved ones and hope. Bye." With that, she stepped through the arch, and both hero and arch faded from view. The roiling black storm clouds faded to grey, then to white, then melted into a blue sky. The remaining members of the group, the adults, blinked in the sunlight. Harry looked at Ginny, and his eyes blurred with relief and happiness. At least for now, they were safe. Ginny could carry on making his life as difficult and as wonderful as she always did. Phileas Flitwick was grinning and bouncing on his toes, his arms spread as wide as they could as he took in the serene landscape around them. Minerva McGonagall smiled at him indulgently. Hagrid looked around the group, grinning at them through his grizzled and singed beard. Lavender had her arms around Stefano Verdi, supporting him. The killing curse had weakened him, though it occurred to Harry that there was more to the hug than that. "Please join me," Ambrose Ward said, standing on the other side of a doorway which had not been there a moment before. "I am afraid it is still raining here, but that is better than ceasing to exist. It is what this part of the ante-world is about to do." They took his advice and stepped back into our world. To be continued.